It's that time of year again. We're super excited. We got new stuff from CRKT, and of course, we've got Bryce, the one and only.
Excited to be here.
Let's light it up.
Gotta hold yours up too.
So, Bryce, thanks for coming, man.
Thank you.
We just went through and looked at all of this stuff, and I got to say, I'm super stoked. You guys have got some really cool stuff, some really neat new stuff, some new takes on some stuff that's been around for a while, and something that's very nostalgic that is being updated. So, I mean, you guys are really covering everything here. But let's start off with this, because that's a pretty big deal.
It is a pretty big deal. These are the twist ties. So these are going to be the first out the fronts from CRKT. We've never done an out the front before. We've done automatics, and we were very excited to get to work with Hogue and bring the twist tie to the knife-loving public.
Oh, this is just, oh man, that is super slick right there. I absolutely love this.
Totally. Great size. Really captures, these are Brian Tighe designs. Anybody who's a fan of Brian Tighe is going to spot that immediately. His background in machining really lends itself to create these kind of like organic patterns in metal, which I really like. I struggle sometimes. I'm like, it's kind of organic, it's alien, it's got that cool relief. And on the one side, we've got the camo carbon there, and that really captures that kind of design.
Looking at it straight on, you can't really tell, but it's got a really cool texture to it. The same texture that's on this side.
Exactly. You can really see it on the reflection there, how it comes out. But that design we've been using quite a bit. We've used it on belt buckles and different knives back in the day. But we were really excited to get to do these. They're a great size.
And we've got a couple of different colors here. So we've got the pink here, camo carbon, the green.
And then we also got...
And then the all black. That one is, that one's just gorgeous.
This one actually comes with the black blade too.
Just murdered out. Just all,
Yeah, we got aluminum on one side, the camo carbon, and this is Magna Cut steel. Really thin little blade. Really slim design overall, which is great. Really great for the pocket.
And I gotta say, like that's a perfect size as far as holding it in your hand. Like, and I feel like that's kind of the issue with a lot of out the fronts. People are really excited to get them, and they get them, but then they realize that a lot of times they're big, bulky, oversized for what you typically need.
Definitely.
This is a good size blade and a good size for the hand, so that you can actually do some work. You're not over here like trying to cut, and you're like back off of it 5 inches, and can't get any precision. So that's really neat. I love those. Great action, and of course the partnership with Hogue, just fantastic.
Super cool. Very fidgety. Double edge too, so you get twice the cutting edge on there. And it's just like the easiest way to use a knife, you know? Like if you're going to cut something, it's out of your pocket, blades out, you do your cutting, blades back in your pocket.
Yep.
There's not a single piece of fat on there that we could cut off in that process to make it faster.
Absolutely.
Love it. Love these designs.
Yeah.
And just getting to work with Brian Tighe. He's been designing with us for well over 20 years now, and so many different designs. And I think these really capture his style. He's like he's done these in customs. We've had a mid-tech one from Brian Tighe and Friends. I think these are spot on.
I love that.
Super cool.
Now, one that's been around for a while, but kind of a new take on it is going to be the new Minimalist, Maximalist. So this is going to be the Nessmuk version, and I gotta say, I mean, I use my Minimalist all the time. I love them. But this one is the first one that I feel like I would be comfortable going out into the woods with this and using it in a more, I guess, heavy-duty bushcrafting scenario kind of thing. This one also is my favorite version of the two. Not to take anything away from that one because I love it, but that beautiful, is that G10?
It's like a linen micarta.
Linen micarta?
Yeah, very fine.
That's just gorgeous. I think I'm going to use your term and just call it vegan ivory there. I like that a lot with the black liners. And it just fits in the hand so nicely.
A little bit bigger than the other Minimalists.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Just slightly.
But, I mean, this is going to make, like, a great kind of bird and trout type knife or, like, a skinner.
Yeah.
Oh, man. unzipping hides with this would be so simple with that nice big belly, and you can get your finger out to the tip right there, so you can get a lot of precision in that. This is going to be a great game knife,
Totally.
as far as I'm concerned.
Very capable version of the Minimalist. We've had some longer blades, but I think this one really hits at that big belly, extreme hollow grind. That one's going to have 12C27, so it'll take a super fine edge. And the slightly bigger handle is good. You know, the Minimalist is kind of a miracle of ergonomics, but bulking it up just slightly, just ever so slightly, really seems to grab a bit more.
That's fantastic. Now let's take a look at that one too. So that one's going to come in D2, is that right?
Correct, yeah. And so it's got the more traditional style of micarta that you've seen on the Minimalists. It's got that kind of green relief pattern, but same features. This one's going to have D2 steel, but same qualities overall. Big belly, really extreme hollow grind, and the slightly larger handle, which is awesome. We were really excited to kind of work with like the Nessmuk idea, and so Alan was a really big fan of that that philosophy. So it was really fun to get to work with these.
We talked about that, and I mean, we've done some videos on the history of the Nessmuk and George Washington Sears being a writer for, I believe it was Field and Stream back in the day.
I think it's actually Forest. I'm not too.
Well, it might be Forest and
I think it's
Stream.
Forest and Stream, but I get.
Yes.
I
get confused about that all the time too. But I mean, just a phenomenal mind, and created what a lot of people believe to be the ideal knife design with that blade shape. And I mean, there's a reason why it's hung around for more than 120 years now. So just fantastic. Now, next I want to talk about the one that really hits home for me.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the additions to the M16 line with a crossbar lock.
With the crossbar lock.
What?
What?
What? I mean, and I told you guys, the M16 always hits home for me because it was one of my first knives that I ever got myself, that I carried actually as like a teenager. And I mean, it's super special to me. So seeing that line not only continue on, but you guys continue to do new stuff with it.
Yeah. M16's been around for a long time. The original design, I believe, came out in like the 80s. The original Kit Carson design, and we've been working with this one for a long time.
TC was around back then.
Us elder millennials will remember. But the design is really great. A lot of features, you know, that like really revolutionized the knife world at the time. And still, the M16 is popular. Obviously, a lot of people's first knife, but a lot of people who are deployed in the global war on terror will be very familiar with the M16s. And so we were really excited to bring this new feature, the crossbar, making it a little bit more fidgety, making the thumb stud very usable too.
That was the other thing I was going to say, and I guess that would be a lot of people's biggest knock on the M16 is that the thumb studs are a little more difficult to use in general. These are slightly raised, so they sit a little more proud of the scales, and really easy to actuate, even reverse flicking. Just fantastic.
We'll have all three sizes. We got the 02, 03, and the big dog here, 04. And I like that they actually shrunk down the VEF serrations on this one, so it takes up less of the blade. The VEF serrations are great, but they could take up quite a bit of the blade. So this is a really good move in my mind to do that. All of these will have D2 steel, really tough. The M16 is just a classic beater in that way, and these will continue that legacy with a little hint of modernization there.
Oh, absolutely. I think these are fantastic and super excited now. And in general, and this is something that I think is important to note, as far as price point, these are going to be pretty much in line with the current M16 products.
Definitely.
And I think that's absolutely fantastic.
Really cool.
That is awesome.
M16 trivia, why is there knurling on the pivot?
I don't know.
So you can tighten it down in the field with your thumb.
With your thumb, with the pad. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that is...
A little blast from the past. That was a fun fact that came out in one of our meetings. And
I like that.
Yeah, the M16, like, we all stand on the shoulders of giants, but a lot of these, you know, drilling holes out in the frame to lighten it up, that was, at the time, was revolutionary. It's like putting a clip on a knife, you know?
Yeah.
But now we just kind of take it for granted. But I love knowing the history and understanding where we came from.
Oh, absolutely. Now, where do you think we should go next? Those are I think the heavy hitters as far as what I'm looking at. Now, there's a lot more innovation here. What do you think we should talk about next?
So we talk about the Michael Walker, the Walker blade lock.
Oh man, so this is kind of a classic design that you guys haven't done in a long time.
Yeah, not new for us. This came out in the early 2000s. If you don't know, Michael Walker is one of the greatest minds in knives. He's been inventing new locks and mechanisms. He's really the first to popularize the liner lock. But he gets knives back that he doesn't remember making the lock anymore. It's been theorized that he's done about 40 unique locking mechanisms,
Wow.
but there's potential that it's higher. But this Walker blade lock is really handy the way it works.
Yeah,
Well ahead of its
so
time.
let's explain this a little bit. So the lock is actually made into the thumb stud here. You push this down because otherwise the blade is not coming out. You can't get that. So you push that down right there, and then the blade just smoothly opens up and then locks into place up here in the open position. And then to retract it, you just push that down again, just like that, and then pull it back in. And you can even flick that too. Like if you push that down, you get comfortable enough with it. It's really easy to do.
No problem.
That is just so smooth. And again, one of those that takes me back. Like that nostalgia really hits home for me.
We did so much work in the early 2000s too with Michael and Ron Lake, all the guys from the Knife Makers Guild. It's, again, standing on the shoulders of giants. A lot of these ideas, have been around. A lot of these inventions, it's amazing when you really get into it to look at the different mechanisms in the history. There's just a really deep depth to knives, and people continually try to come up with new ways to make a knife, and I love to see that. That's really fun.
And another thing that I didn't notice when we were looking at it earlier is this backside here. So if you look here, you've got kind of a free-floated back end here. So the back spacer is going to be up kind of along the middle of the spine there. And then this tail is going to be kind of free-floating out there. And super sturdy as well. Like, that's really cool. And I like that. It's super unique. And again, and I told you guys this, one of my first videos that I did here was on unique opening mechanisms from CRKT. And that's just another one to add to that list, and I love it. I think it is fantastic.
Totally.
And speaking of that, we don't have it on the table, but there's going to be a new snap lock coming out.
Yep.
New colorway, black with the kind of bronze accents.
Yeah.
I love that anyways.
Talk about another CRKT brain teaser. That's what I love about the companies will take risks on it, One of the designers got a wild idea. It's like, let's give it a shot, see how it does. And the snap lock's been in our line ever since. Same one. It came around in the early 2000s. I think Ed Van Hoy brought it out. So still kicking in new versions.
Absolutely. Now, we've got some new versions of the Tuna. The Tuna Compact. Now, this one's going to be the premium version.
Yes, sir.
So we're talking titanium on the handles. S35VN on the blade steel, is that right?
S35VN blade, yeah.
Oh, that is just beautiful. And the action on this.
Totally. It got bearings. The compact Tuna, we've added bearings. It just made it so much more fidgety and fun. And it really captures, I joke about it being Lucas Burnley's aquatic series. He really likes to take inspiration from nature. And you can see the Tuna quality here. It's like that big, swelling, powerful design there.
And really, this is the size the Tuna should be. Like, this is the perfect 100%. Carry size, useful size. I think that's fantastic. And then to add to that one, you've got another one here in kind of the, I guess you would call it like a seafoam or a teal, robin's egg blue.
I'll have to bust out the big pack of Crayolas to name that one.
Yeah. We gotta get the big 64.
With the sharpener on the back.
Yeah, that was big timing when you were in elementary school.
Ooh.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, this version is gonna come in with 14C28N, is that right?
Yeah, we've been using a lot of 12C27 and 14C28N. Great steels, super fine edge. Really enjoy both of those.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I love that. And again, super smooth action with those ball bearing pivots. I absolutely love that.
Yeah, really cool.
Now, we got to talk about the Squid here too.
Definitely.
Because this sucker got an update that is a little bit different. Kind of like the M16. This one's got a button lock?
Yep.
What?
So traditional frame-locked Squid got a little bit. We've had so many different variations too. We've had the Squid XM or extra medium. We've had the versions we've done in Italy, and these are a great addition to it. Adding the button lock, Really makes it easy. It's really good too for people who aren't used to knives. Some of us who deal with knives all the time, we forget that catching it on your nail or having it in the way is a little bit intimidating.
Right.
So these are really great. Or if you're just a fan of squids, which I mean, the squid's also a lot of people's first knife, which is great. They get a knife that punches way above its price point. But this is really fun, and it makes it a little bit more fidgety. We've also added that G10 on there, which has got a unique polish to it. Adds a little bit of grip, but not too much, which I like. Sometimes that G10 can get a bit aggressive and tears up your pocket.
Right.
I don't want that to happen. So.
No, that is ideal right there. And again, the action is fantastic. Now, price point on this one is going to be somewhere in the ballpark of $70, $80.
Like $60, $70, yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll have a couple different versions. It's the blue one, we'll have a black one, a pink one, and then we have the Squid XM. It'll come in 3 different colors as well. Nice. So a lot of colors and options for you. Yeah, great addition. Next evolution in the Squid line.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Now, next up, I want to talk about this one here. So the Q. Was a very very simple design. No nonsense, but just very refined. And now we've got a compact version.
Yeah.
And that fuller makes it so easy to reverse flick. But the action on this is absolutely insane. Now, you guys showed we've got a black version with Jade G10 or natural G10 as the inlay. And this one is the, I guess you could call it like a gunmetal gray version with the black G10 inlay.
And what's beautiful about it too, Richard Rogers, it's the attention to detail. That's always fascinating. And this really doesn't have many screws outside the pivot, but actually hugs into the frame with small tabs. Just really clean overall. Anybody who's got a CEO flipper will understand how the clip just can rotate to the left or right without leaving any unsightly holes. Beautiful and brilliant. And this is just super clean. I love how the fuller or full nail neck cover is kind of a hybridization of that. Gives you a little bit of something to grab onto. Just a great size. I mean, and a classic shape, I mean, just a very capable cutter, but in a smaller size. That's just an all-around great knife.
Absolutely. And speaking of that attention to detail,
yes,
let's talk about this one here.
Yeah, this is the Viento, which is a really beautiful stylized knife overall, just really beautiful flowing shapes. Again, a lot of the really interesting sort of inlay pieces where he used little connectors that go into the bolster.
Yeah.
Just the way that the bolster kind of connects to the flipper, you can see the continuation of the pattern onto
that line right there.
And that does it when it's both open and closed, which is super cool. Just a nice little touch. You can see how it just complements the bolster up there. Same thing, you got that kind of full nail nick, whatever you want to call it. It goes all the way through. And there's also a hidden Easter egg on this one.
Yes.
In the back spacer. I can't really show it to you, but if you want, you can actually have a lanyard hole. So the back spacer is drilled out both ways. So if you took this knife apart and you moved it forward in the holes, you would actually pull out, it would have a small lanyard there. But if you don't want it, again, Richard's like dedication to clean design overall, it hides in there easily. So you don't have to worry about it at all.
That is super cool. I think that's a really cool feature to appease everyone. Those that really desire a lanyard and then those that really don't want it and hate the unsightly hole.
Yeah.
That is fantastic. And also a very good working blade too.
Totally.
That's a really, and I typically don't like any sort of sheep's foot, Warncliffe. I've always felt like those were just not as aesthetically pleasing, but I can appreciate their work value. But this one, I like the look of it, and I like how it complements the knife closed and open.
Totally. Richard's he's an interesting, his life is just really interesting. He goes from high-end knife making, and he also runs a ranch in New Mexico.
Yeah.
So you can see, even though he's really interested in that really nice high-end clean look, he needs a knife that works too.
Yeah.
So, really cool.
Now, you guys have got some new
Provokes.
Take two. Some new Provokes that are coming out, and this one right here in particular. So you guys scrubbed all of the finish off of the arms, everything, and what you ended up with was something that is super snappy and with extremely nice tolerances.
Definitely. It's very precise feeling, and I just like the fact that we took it off. It really, like all the different facets and everything, this thing really captures the light well.
Yeah.
As you rotate it, you can see all the different facets kind of come out, and it highlights the mechanism, the kinematic mechanism, Joe Caswell, being the genius that he is, seeing problems and fixing them through engineering, really solved a lot of the shortcomings of the traditional folding karambit and came out with a really cool mechanism in between. Same thing, everything else is the same. You've got the same kind of lay flat pocket clip that raises up when you need it. But other than that, it stays nice and flush with the handle, so there's no hot spots.
Yeah.
But just really pretty. I think this one really came out great. I was really excited about it. I think the tolerances allowed us to be a little bit snappier.
Yeah.
But then also just the way it captures the light. So cool.
Absolutely. And there's also going to be some new Grivery models. So that one's going to come in right at about 200. And the Grivery ones are going to come in about $100 less.
Yep, exactly.
And they look fantastic as well. Got a kind of a white-ish version, and then what was the other color?
It was a sage.
Sage color, yeah. Oh, I really like that one.
Totally.
It's very Oregon of you. How very Oregon of you.
Can't help it.
I wonder where that came from. Now, let's talk about this puppy right here. So this thing is a beast.
This is the HZ4. So this is going to be a James Williams product. Everybody's familiar with James knows that he takes classic Japanese designs and uses modern materials. What a simple recipe. It's going to work. So we got SK5 steel, G10 on the handle, really aggressive. This thing is a beautiful self-defense knife, and that's what it's meant for.
It's in its pedigree. Like you can, I mean, just in every aspect of the design there.
Totally. We had the HZ6 come out last year, a little bit longer, a little bit bigger. If you want to put that on a, like a chest rig, something like that. You can even carry it inside the waistband, not that difficult. But this size makes it a little bit more economical and easier to do so. And it really, this blade is like a true Japanese style tanto, and all it really comes down to is this point. It's almost like a hypodermic needle. It's so pointy and so sharp. It's going to pierce. James got some great videos of him going after some 1/4-inch plywood, stabbing it. Just to show the demonstration between that and like your traditional American style kind of crossover tanto. But this shape is just much better penetrator. Really wicked, purpose-designed self-defense blade.
Yeah, and with the cutouts, I wouldn't call that jimping, but with the cutouts on the top and bottom of the handle there, it is super grippy and very confidence-inspiring when holding 100%. That. Without any sort of finger guard, you don't have to worry about your hand slipping down on that whatsoever.
That kind of design really makes it easy to index too. You kind of always know where the blade edge is. That's something that people work on.
Right.
But this one, really simple to find that. You can carry it inside the waistband. I like to run this one on like an ulti clip.
Yep.
Very simple, and you can just put it on anything. Put it on like a pair of joggers, clip it right on. Put it on your bag, really easy. So I was really excited about this one. I like the HC6 a lot, but I wanted a shorter version.
Yeah,
so
I like that. I like that a lot. Now, last but certainly least as far as weight is concerned, we've got these new titanium knives.
Yep, from Runners.
And again, attention to detail and something extremely unique that I haven't seen anybody else really do.
You see titanium like in dive knives. We used to have a dive knife that was used for that. But titanium, I mean, everyone loves titanium. I don't care where you are. Titanium's cool. It's got a strength to weight ratio, bar none. Everyone loves that.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I come from ultralight backpacking too, and if you can titanium anything, you should titanium it, 'cause that's just cool. And so both of these are the HangTi's, 2 different size shapes. This one's more of a Kiridashi style blade, kind of taking a hint from the Japanese style, but cool in modern materials and really
Gonna be a great box opener.
100%.
I mean, and again, I cannot stress how lightweight these things are. Like, it is unreal.
Yeah. Yeah, and this one too is is cool with the spear point, and it's not anodized, so if anybody wants to anodize themselves, I've done the thing, you just clip a bunch of 9-volt batteries together in borax solution and freak out all your roommates.
You might see some stuff coming from our custom shop. I don't know. I'm super excited about these, especially with them being titanium. And the cool thing about titanium, we were talking about this, I was not aware of the Rockwell hardness being so much less.
Yeah, the Rockwell's way lower.
Which in turn means that they're going to be a lot easier to sharpen.
You're definitely going to want to use like a diamond grit stone or something. Hopefully, especially with the size of these and kind of the thinness of the blade, shouldn't need that much touch-ups there.
Right.
But if you had to, you could definitely do it on a stone. But it's a great backup knife, or if you just need little cutting capabilities. It's very simple and non-intrusive.
That is fantastic. Now, what's approximate price point going to be on these?
It's going to be around $90, somewhere in there.
Nice. That is super cool.
Yeah.
Man, I am so excited about all this new stuff. And you hinted that there's going to be something really new and exciting releasing at SHOT Show. Now, this video is coming out on, I believe, January 9th. Is that right? That's the date on that.
That's
so today, when you're watching this, it's January 9th. But something really exciting that we're going to be showing off our first day at SHOT Show.
Stay tuned, guys. As we're CRKT, we're always coming up with new ideas. We're working with the best designers in the world, trying to bring their cool custom designs to you.
And I have no idea what it is. They won't tell me. So you're going to be as excited as I am, because I can already tell by the way that they're talking about it. It's going to be insane. So get ready for that. That's coming up very soon. Bryce, thank you guys so much. You guys are awesome, and we love getting to see all the new products before they release and show them off to everybody out there. It really means a lot to us, and thank you guys for coming out to see us.
Thank you, guys.
And remember, if it cuts, or if it's a tool that works on what cuts, because they got some of those coming out too, then we carry it. Yep.